Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engines. Today we're working on a 44 cubic inch, 26 horsepower Briggs Stratton twin cylinder engine. It's leaking oil, so we're going to check and see if it's the pan gasket or the bottom oil seal. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, I flipped the motor upside down and you can tell the pan gasket's leaking. It's really leaking right along there. Sometimes on these gaskets just blow out. I've changed a few of them. It's leaking there on that side, and it's leaking right there too on this one here. So, well, and on the seal here, it's not leaking, but it's cracked. So we're gonna go ahead and put a new seal on this too. And this, I'll show you like an easy way. You know, if your motor's ever leaking oil on the base gasket, it's real simple to do without taking too much apart. You can take it apart, put the new gasket in, and get it back together with pretty much leaving from here all the way down left alone. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take out these 3 5/16 inch screws for the oil pump. We're going to take the oil pump out and the oil pump shaft because we don't want to lose that. Then on the governor here, what I like to do so you don't have to readjust your governor is just take like a scratcher screwdriver and just scratch your shaft right in that V where you tighten this up. Just put a nice scratch in there. So we pull this off and we put it back on. You just line this little V right up with that scratch right there. And the governor is perfectly adjusted, so you don't have to mess with all that. I'll put a good scratch on there. Okay, so we'll take this here off. And I left the oil in there too. Really no sense to drain the oil. The oil was clean. Of course, it kept on leaking. They probably put oil in there every time they mowed, so it has nice clean oil. But here's our oil pump right here. Pop that off. Then just take this out. And just pull that shaft out. That's all we gotta do with the oil pump. And we're gonna take a 7/16 inch wrench. Loosen the governor shaft up. I'll just take this bolt all the way off. And there you go. And that scratch we put in there, when we put it back in, it's all gonna be all adjusted and everything. And now we're gonna take these bolts off. They're 1/2 inch bolts. Let's go around and take all these out. This one here has an oil pressure sensor on it. Let's take that wire off for now. There, we got all our bolts off. Now we'll just lightly tap it here. Because there's pins, there's 2 pins that help hold it on. And just lift it straight up. Like so, and you can see where the gasket, it's broken 2 spots. Right here, that's where it's leaking there, and see where it came in. So I'll go get us a new pan gasket and a new seal. And I'll put this back together again. There ain't gonna be no more leaks. Okay, so I'm gonna scrape the old gasket off. And I'm sure some people are gonna say, well, why didn't you power wash this before you doing this? Well, because I kind of figured it was this pan gasket leaking. If you power wash it, you're gonna get a bunch of water in the motor. So I am gonna power wash it when we get it back together again. That way I know water's not gonna get in here. So that gasket's really hard in places too. We can get it all cleaned off and we'll come back. Okay, if this ever happens to your twin cylinder Briggs, this is a gasket set to get. It's a 594195. It's called a gasket crankcase kit. Should have everything you need in there. They come with new bolts with that Loctite on them, which is a good idea. And you got your new pan gasket. And you even have your directions. Tells you how to torque them up. If you have it all apart, I recommend putting a new seal on the bottom too. I'm going to do that to this one here. And another I'm going to do on the motor, I'm going to put gasket sealer on it. Some people think I'm dumb, but I hate doing redos. I like putting the gasket sealer on there. You'll never have to worry about this again. But that's how I like doing stuff. Okay, we're going to pop out the old seal here. And our new seal is the 690947. I'm going to clean this real good. Make sure there ain't no dirt and stuff in there. A little bit of carburetor cleaner. So I'm going to put some sealant on it. You want it oil free. Let that dry a few seconds. I'm going to put a thin layer of that gasket sealant down there. Just a really thin layer. You don't need that much. A nice thin layer. We'll set it in there. I'm just going to lightly tap it in. Just like that. Wipe off the excess sealant. Make it nice and flush. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I use on this stuff. Like I said, some of my haters out there probably won't like this, but it works for me. So what I do, take a nice sharp little chisel there. And don't get it on the seal, do it on the aluminum. And it kind of mushrooms that aluminum into the seal, and it holds in there tighter so it don't come out. That's a little trick. That's done. Now we can go ahead and work on the block now. I'm gonna wet my rag with some carburetor cleaner just to get the oil film. Just to get the oil film off so that gasket sealant will stick to it. And we're going to do that with the base gasket too. Very little on the rag here. Just to get that oil residue off of there. There, we'll let that dry for a few minutes. The block should be good now, so we'll go ahead and double check your gasket. Make sure it's the right one. See how it fits on there perfect. Them 2 pins go right there. And we just a nice thin coat's all we need. But for some reason on these twin cylinders, it just likes blowing them gaskets out for some reason. Okay, now we'll set our gasket on there. There you go, just kind of tap it into place, make sure all your holes are lined up. Now we'll go ahead and put some on the pan. And you don't have to, this is optional. But I do this for 11 and I don't like stuff coming back that I have to redo. So this is just a total option for you. The gasket itself, you know, should do its job. And there we go. And on this seal, some of your excess oil here, just run it on the seal's edge there, just to lubricate, because it's a two-way seal. Just kind of lubricate that. Okay, let's go ahead and set it on there. Just pop her into place. That's all you gotta do. Simple as that. Let's wipe the excess off here. Okay, now we're gonna install our new bolts that came with that kit, with that Loctite on the bolts. You can tell they must have had a lot of problem with these because they actually have a kit. Because the original bolts didn't have Loctite on them. So, you know, I've done plenty around here, and I'm just a little shop. I'm sure them bigger shops do this all the time. Okay, I'm just gonna torque them down my wrench, and we'll get the torque wrench. We're supposed to torque them down to 450 inch-pounds. I'll let that sit for a few minutes, then I'll torque them down. But in the meantime, install the oil pump again. Just take your pump, set it in here, your shaft, and turn it till it locks into place. There's a notch in the cam where that thing runs on. Go ahead and set that in there. And put it down until it locks in place. And take our O-ring. Set it in there like that. Clean the bottom of our plate off. Oil pump bolts. Well, let's hook up that governor real quick. Like we made that notch on there. Put it in there. And where it's scratched in there, take our pliers and just line that scratch up. Right in the center. There's our lock washer and our nut. I'm going to tighten this just a little bit, then we'll re-look at that. Make sure it's right in the center. I'll go ahead and tighten her up. Okay, let me go grab the inch torque wrench and we'll snug them up and we're pretty much going to be done. So, okay, that's like a quick little fix. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can do this in your backyard or your carport or your shed. You know, a lot cheaper doing it yourself than taking it to a shop. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. You have a good afternoon.